everyone, it is Monday again and I'm coming to you a little bit earlier today, so tried to get the word out there. Hopefully it's got out, but it is a bank holiday Monday here in the UK, well, at least in England anyway. We're a bit weird in the UK. We have bank holidays that not everybody has, which is a little bit strange in a way. You go up to Scotland and they're like, no. But Scotland has bank holidays that England doesn't. Not sure about Wales or Northern Ireland, but very peculiar. But hopefully we'll get a few people in. I do understand it's really nice weather out there, so it may well be that a lot of people drop in for the rerun, as it were. They watch this video, which goes up live onto YouTube and stays put forever once we're finished with the live stream. So you can, go back, watch it all, catch up with what you missed, re-watch anything, and that's grand. So I quite understand if the chat room is a little bit slow today. I do understand. Now the reason that I've had to do the live stream a little bit earlier today is quite frankly because I've been invited out to a new model railway club that's opened up in Bolton, and they've sent an invite to me, and they meet every Monday night. This is down at Bolton Trinity Street Station. I believe they're in the old training rooms in the station building, just between platforms 4 and 5, I suspect. So it'd be interesting to see what they got, and also very interesting to see inside a station building, which I've been using that station on and off since the 80s. I remember the old station building that used to be on the road bridge that was sadly destroyed in about 1988. But this is in some of the platform buildings. But we've got some people coming into the chat room. It's actually nice to see you. I was beginning to suspect that a lot of people were out sunning themselves on the beach because it is really quite hot weather. But we've got Goot Valley, hi to you. Nice and early, yes. Did get the message out, hopefully. It went up on the Facebook page. Don't forget to like and follow that if you want to keep up to date on posts. And it's not just getting links there for the videos that I put up. There's also other stuff goes up there as well. So well worth it. And also tried putting out a post on YouTube itself. I've seen other people do it. Not sure whether it worked or not, but had Zoe do that. Had my staff do something there. I've got Brockwell Lane, hi to you. Hornby Modeler, hello to you. Overdene Station, hi to you. You hope that you get a few people on tonight. Yeah, me too. It'd be. Looks like we've got a few actually. Melchester Model Railway, hi Jenny. What's cooking? Actually, to be honest with you, just had pot noodle. It's like, a Red Dwarf reference. That's what Holly says. Alright, dudes. All ahead, groove factor 10. Yeah. Anybody who's not seen Red Dwarf are like, what are you talking about? Starkiller 100. First time watching live. Enjoy your videos. Cheers. Well, really good to have you along. Always great to have new people in the house. Who's in the house? Yeah, Jenny's house. And I don't have any of my merchandise with me. I keep forgetting about that. To show off the... Just imagine that I'm holding here the Jenny Monday Club mug. And I have passed on... There was a suggestion last week, I believe, about a Jenny Monday Club pint glass. So I have passed that on to the powers that be. And hopefully a branded pint glass might turn up in Teespring at some point. Let's have a Linnet 12DD. Hi Jenny, will you join the club or are you just visiting? To be honest, just visiting because the club meets, as I understand it, on a Monday night, which is when I do the live stream. There is a layout that I was involved in construction of that I believe is finding at least a temporary home ultimately there, which is currently stored in the deep, darkest recesses of the Hatton's warehouse in Widnes. And this is a layout that was from the heat stages of Great Model Railway Challenge. So I can't really tell you, well, I certainly can't tell you any more about that layout. I can tell you that it's one of the heat layouts. Can't tell you the theme. All you'll know is that the team that I was part of built it. But yeah, I've been invited down. It'd be nice to go down and see what's going on there. I've never been a member of a model railway club, it has to be said. Usually it's just a time thing. And also, I've had dealings with a few clubs in the past. One in Preston, and there was an old Bolton one. And I'm afraid that it's one of those things. Sometimes all it takes is one person to become the rivet counting fun police, and it kind of put me off a little bit. The old Bolton club, we're talking going back like 20, 25 years now, became obsessed with 7mm O gauge, and at the time wasn't really for me. But hey, let's have a look. Goat Valley was previously posting as Adrian Parcel. Well, hi to you. I presume from the, is it a circumflex over the U? That looks a bit French to me. Have you moved out to France to enjoy the sunshine and the wine and the products from the boulangerie? Lots of pan and we're going to say pan and chocolat, but no, French baguettes and cheese. You never have too much cheese. Cheesy does it. Or are you just on holiday? Who knows? Man United 1962. Hi Jenny from Kinross in Scotland. Aha. So not a bank holiday for you, but no doubt you've been enjoying the rather hot weather as well. Because of the hot weather, I am drinking Celtic Spring, which is just fizzy water in a bottle, with added Rose's lime cordial. Go me. So keeping hydrated, very important to keep hydrated on a day like today. Been out painting the fence in the full glare of sun. I think I've just about cleaned off all of the splatters of paint, but perfect weather for doing it. Actually no, I tell a lie, it wasn't perfect weather for doing it, simply because it was too hot, really hot. But 57305 Northern Princess. Hey Jenny, I was at Chasewater Railway, dying in the heat and enjoying the shirtless men. Oh, right. Was there a lot of six-packs being carried around about a great many men's persons? Yeah, hot weather, lots of scantily clad people. I've actually been out to the East Lancs Railway today, actually. It got recognised by a few people. So if any of the people who recognised me and said hello at the East Lancs Railway are in the chat room, then hi to you. Lovely to talk to you. And also a special big thanks to the staff who gave me a guided tour of the shed that's at the end of the platform at Bury Bolton Street Station. And that's where they're currently restoring an IVET 260 tender loco. Is it a 4MT tender loco? Is it standard class 2? Something like that? So really big thanks for that. I've got some video footage. I've got some photos as well. They had the class 14 teddy bear. I think it's called Everett or something. Had the name on the side. City of Wales was out. The class 24D 5054. In exactly the same livery that I've got it from Bachmann, from way back in the day. Back in the day when Bachmann first brought out the Class 24, the locomotives that they released, from what I remember, was 24081 in Tops Blue, 5087 in pre-Tops Blue, which was quite a strange choice actually, and one that you don't see about anymore because it tended to be the one that people used for renumbering or repainting, because it was the one that seemed to get remaindered a lot. And also D5054 in plain green with the no yellow ends and the grey roof. And I think there was also a special done for Model Rail of Experiment. I think they were the original 4 releases of that model. It's a personal favourite of mine, D5054. Few people have actually asked to buy it off me. Quite keen to, and I've refused every time. I do actually quite like that loco in that livery. Not a fan of BR Green, but that particular one does suit it. But hey, yeah. What else? Oh yeah, there was a warship as well in green. Would that be Onslaught or Foxhound? I'm not sure which is the one that they've got. Oh, is it Greyhound? I'm not sure. Philip Page. Hello Jenny and all at the club. This is very early. Yes, did trail ahead. Started posting from Friday. I'm not sure how well these messages get out to people. It's supposed to send out to all subscribers. So a quick tip for you there: subscribe and ring that bell. I know some people have had a few issues with being notified about new videos even when they have rung the bell. That's a YouTube issue, nothing to do with me. It's happening not just to my channel, but to a lot of other channels, big and small. Don't know what to do about that. Just, I don't know, bug YouTube, not me. Nothing I can do about that. But subscribe to the channel, and also don't forget to share videos too. Let the world know about the Jenny Monday Club, and also all the other videos that we've been doing. Let's see what else. Aaron Izzard, so Jenny, what's new? Basically been to the East Lancs today. Had a mooch around Bury. I do like going to Bury. It's only down the road actually. It's like a 5-minute car trip. So I am a regular frequenter of Bury. And I saw the statue of Victoria Wood as well for the first time, which actually was pretty good. It was quite a good likeness, unlike the Fred Dibner one in Bolton that just makes him look a bit gormless and gurning. But Warrington Train Spotter 2778, hi Jenny, what, no pizza this week? Yeah, I wish, I really do wish actually, but I've got to go out in a bit. Maybe I'll pick up a pizza on the way back, who knows. I do like my pizzas, quite keen on them. Lynn at 12DD, cool, hope it gets restored. I presume you're talking about the Ivor. Yeah, they're hard at work on it. I've got some video footage of various bits being done, various bits being fabricated as well. Showed me some of, they look like pins and stuff from the Stephenson's linkage, the valve gear. So it's quite interesting to see all that stuff, and I'm really, really grateful for being given the guided tour. Fame gets you in places. I wouldn't say I'm that famous. I don't get recognised in normal shops that much. Excuse me, but model rail shops, model rail exhibitions and preserved railways, they are my people. So it's always good to meet people who recognise me. Lynn at 12DD, can you give a shout out to Faversham MRC please? Consider it done. Faversham Model Rail Club. Boom! Welcome to the Monday Club. Don't forget to like the video, become subscribers if you've not already done so, and also check us out on Patreon. But no, I'm not going to do that money grasping thing that other channels do. It's all there, you know where it is. If you don't feel you have to. 00rail.com. Hello Jenny from Ohio, USA. Hi to you. I believe actually you're one of the Patreons as well. I recognise your handle. Either that or you've got a handle very similar to one of the people who's on Patreon. I'm actually thinking, funnily enough, and I know I just said I'm not going to bang on about money, but on Patreon, one of the things that I've been talking to Zoe about is introducing another tier, and this is following on from an article that was written for the main parent site, All Mouse Media. We've been doing like top 5 articles, 5 things you didn't know, getting in on the craze. It's going really well actually. Zoe writes most of them, but I have had some inputs. And one of the things we've been talking about is micronations. And if you're not familiar with these, look it up. There's some quite fun stuff going on. It's basically where people declare, their house a sovereign nation. Or, the more famous ones are things like Sealand, which is actually an old Second World War. I think it's a Martello fort or something. And they've declared it a sovereign nation. They issue passports, blah, 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 blah. But these go down to, they're quite big in America. You have some of the real nut jobs who sort of declare their ranch a sovereign nation and sort of sit in dungarees on the porch with a shotgun going, get off my land! And don't recognise even the US government, that kind of thing, which probably the most extreme end of the scale is a bit nutty and probably doesn't go down well when IRS comes calling, or the Federal Bureau of Tobacco and Firearms. But then you have some more fun ones, which are clearly people just, a bit light-hearted. And there was one woman I saw had a rock in a briefcase, and that was her micronation, was the rock. Feel free to touch the country, and it's just a rock. Ooh. But anywho, just to get back on track. I was thinking of declaring the loft room, the train loft where Weir Yard is housed, a micronation of Genitopia. And for a higher tier, probably about $30 or something on Patreon, it would have all of the lower tier benefits, which at that sort of level you're talking about, books every month, other stuff, photographs, mugs, things like that get sent out every month, or supposed to. And also, we've talked about a few other things, but having honorary citizenship without residence rights, apparently that's quite important, otherwise people rock up and go, hello, I'm a citizen, I'm going to live in your loft now. And have like certificates like honorary citizen. Genitopia, Game Hammer Classic Gaming, absolutely right. Genitopia in the loft with Weir Yard, and maybe even introduce other tiers where people can send in a 3D printed 4mm scale model of themselves, which will then be added to the layout in perpetuity. So you can basically do that tier for a month and then go down to a lower tier, but then you get your little figure that will feature on Trains Going By videos, and that will stay in Genitopia. Game Hammer Classic Gaming, I'm going to demand to see your passport every time you leave the loft, Well, I've got a flag. Yes, Game Hammer Classic Gaming, you may post a link to that comic. But, you can kiss my flag. It's rosy, it's red, and it gets me in trouble when I hang it out of the car window. Anywho, right, go back to the comments. Good Valley, planning a layout, getting inspiration from you and a few others. Stations to be named after the ailments I have suffered over the year. Oh, well, I feel honoured that I have inspired you. But so, what sort of station names would that be then? So ailments, things like arthritic knee corner and I don't know, decrepit junction. Anybody think of really good puns there based on illness? The only good pun I've seen for a station name. I saw on somebody's layout they were very, very keen on like 80s pop groups, so they had like Up the Junction, so it's like up the, all the one word, so it's Up the Junction, which is a Squeeze song, stuff like that. Let's have a look. Philip Page, Onslaught, yes, I knew it was one of those. There's two Class 42s that survive, and I can never remember what they're called. There was nearly a third, and it's sort of one of the tragic cases, the one that got away. I gather it may or may not have been a bit of a shell with no rail insides, but to see it scrapped in the early 80s at Swindon was a bit tragic, but hey. Leslie Gilpin, good evening, Jenny. Phew, what a scorcher. Yeah, it is actually. I believe they're saying today is the hottest August bank holiday Monday on record. We've had a lot of records broken this year, and I don't know whether we should be really worried about that. Yeah. Linnet 12DD, yeah, you're welcome. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. I've never been to East Lancs Rail. I must pay a visit soon. It's actually a really good railway, and they've got a lot going on. I've watched them grow from a very embryonic stage in the mid 80s to what is there now, and it's great to see the line first off from Bury extended all the way up to is it Rottenstall, Ramsbottom, Rottenstall, at the north end of the line, basically as far as they could go before they reached a point where the local council had rather thoughtlessly built on the track bed with the road. I believe there are sort of like loose schemes to like feasibility things where they could theoretically extend and get further up towards Bacup, but then further down the line they've then extended sort of the other way with the junction at Bury, all the way to Haywood with an option to extend to Castleton Worth Junction. And then south, they've got the original Bury Electric Train Works. So they've actually got the line south. It's not in passenger use, but it's used for storage, and it's part of their works all the way down to actually joining with the Metrolink. And theoretically, there's a number of other lines that did join that route. There's the line from Stubbins Junction off towards Helmshaw. I suppose theoretically you could extend that nearly all the way to Helmshaw, the next station up the line. Don't know why you would do that. I think there's a viaduct that's a bit shagged out, which is one of the reasons why when they were originally based at Helmshaw, and there's another preservation site that's one that tragically got away. They restored that station site and it's now a housing estate. I think the original plan was to extend south to Stubbins Junction. They couldn't go north because of a road scheme, but that viaduct is a bit rotted apparently. There was also the line across to Bolton, which in the early 80s, when they approached Bolton Council for help and support, with a possibility that they would have built from Bury to Bolton, Bolton Council told them to jog on, which is a great shame because I think that would have been a great line. And the old ex-Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway goods warehouse at Bolton Trinity Street might have been saved and become the Transport Museum. But hey, Bolton's loss is Bury's gain. Let's have a look. Afternoon to you, Flymo Chairman 1, and Gout Valley Galston, Gallstone. I like that. You have my sympathies. I've never had a gallstone, but I've known people who have, so ouch, really ouch. Leslie Gilpin, Goich is up the road from here. Perhaps everyone is taking iodine supplements. Something radioactive. I think people have actually, people that are like guzzling iodine tablets. I'm wondering what iodine actually does. But what it actually does, I believe, is it bonds in your body with some of the radioactive isotopes and is then excreted. So it's a way of assisting your body to get rid of radioactive isotopes quickly so that they do less damage. Brockwell Lane, we will all have to check our layouts for rail expansion in this heat. Yeah, certainly it's one that the old Garden Railway suffered a lot from this, and I did build in expansion joints, and they turned out to not be quite enough, because what I found was, because I had some quite tight curves, even though you had a lot of expansion joints, basically, the weak spot is what gives, and the roofing felt it was laid on would soften in the heat, and it would tend to, rather than pushing up all the rails all the way up to the shed, it would start to move the track on the corners, and it didn't go out of gauge, but it was one of the factors that led, to an earlier demise for that, because the track would slide from side to side in the hot and the cold, and it was dragging the roofing felt, which had gone slightly soft in the heat, and it actually, you ended up with like these ballast shoulders which were actually made of the tar off the roofing felt. So I did have a problem with that, but up in the loft it's not really a problem, because whilst it does get quite warm up there, it doesn't get extortionately hot, and that is because of the insulation. Now, if you're not familiar with what insulation I put in, do go back to the beginning of the Building the Loft Layout series of videos that I did on YouTube. There's a full series of that. If you look at playlists, Building the Loft Layout is one of them. You can go back and watch all of the videos related to building Weiryard. So if you look right back to the start, there's me assessing the loft so you can see exactly where I started, and then also a discussion of the insulation that went in. And you've got to remember with insulation, is it not just about keeping you warm in winter, but good insulation also keeps your house cool in summer. So it does help a lot up there. And never underestimate the power of tinfoil to actually keep a lot of heat out. So part of the insulation up there is this Ecotherm 2-inch thick, it's like high density polyurethane insulation, but it's foil backed front and back, and that actually does a lot to reflect some of that heat. Oh, we have an idiot in the room. Oh yes, we do. Yeah. Don't worry. Kick ban. Let's remove them. Yeah. Thank you, Warrington Train Spotter 2778. There's always one, isn't there? And there's always one who likes to poke fun at somebody who had issues when they were young. Right, anywho. Brockwell then, we'll have to check out our layouts for rail expansion in this heat. It's an interesting thing, actually. Weir Yard in the loft doesn't get as hot as Trinity Road in the shed did. And one of the things that I did with the shed, and if you have a layout in a shed or a garage with a flat roof type thing, or even shed roof, it's pitched, and it's fairly dark stuff when you put it on the roof. And what I got was this thermally reflective paint, and it's weird stuff when you get it. It's quite expensive, but it looks very silvery, and it's got almost like flakes of aluminium floating in this paint, and you paint it and you slap it on the roofing felt, and it does two things, I find, which is very, very useful. One, it sticks all the shingly bits to it, so you don't end up that they wash off over time, and two, it does reflect a lot of the heat, and that actually extends the life of the roofing felt, because you're not getting that expansion and contraction to the same degree, which is normally what degrades roofing felt. And it also meant that the shed remained a lot cooler. But the loft Weir Yard is a lot better than the shed ever was, even though the shed was painted that reflective paint. I used turkey foil. Turkey foil is thicker than ordinary baking foil, and it just makes it a bit easier to get it in and staple gun it on. Because cooking foil, baking foil, does rip a bit easy, and then I put insulation over the top, only about an inch of stuff. Right, Flymo Chairman 1, still waiting on my mug. 29th of August, estimated delivery. Oh, they are quite slow, aren't they? I'll speak with Zoe about whether we can find an alternative supply. That's one of the problems with this sort of customised merchandise. People, they're not geared up towards quick turnaround, which is a great shame. Now, in terms of the Patreon rewards, if any of you are it's about $20, something like that. You have to look on Patreon if you are interested in that. A lot of the stuff, things like books, they do go out very quickly, and that is because there is actual physical stocks of them. As a publisher, they have this stuff, and I have a box of them in the back bedroom. You can actually buy my books separately. I keep sliding down this chair. It's very slippery. And also the heat doesn't help. But essentially, you can buy those books if you go to Amazon, or Waterstone stock them as well. But certainly, if you're considering becoming a big ticket Patreon, then just get sent them. So don't buy the books if you're going to do that, because otherwise you get the same book twice. What else? Oh, Melchester Model Railway. I was at the Great Dorset Steam Fair this weekend. Your words, it would be rude not to, went through my head when I saw the bargains on the Hornby stall. Did Hornby have a stand there? I'm very intrigued. Picked up a new Class 71 for 60 quid, and that is actually quite a good price. And they're a good model. I have recently DCC fitted my Hornby Class 71. It's not sound fitted, but I did use the Hornby more budget level DCC chip. It's not the Sapphire one, it's the other one that they do that comes in like a blister package on a cardboard bag. Actually a really good chip. I do like them. Not had any problems with those. And chipped it pretty easily, and it's been a good, solid, reliable runner. It's just a shame they possibly haven't sold as well as Hornby would have liked, but they're a bit niche. So anybody modelling third rail Southern Electrics from the 60s into the 70s, certainly a must-have to break up the otherwise monotony of you just have units or Class 73s. Shame we're not going to see the 74 with the demise of DJ models. What's that all about? But let's have a look. Yeah, it would have been rude not to for that price. But I'm intrigued that Hornby have a stand there. And it's actually my dad's mantra. My dad always said, oh, well, it'd be rude to leave empty-handed. So the Flymo Chairman 1. Where are we? Hey, Game Hammer Classic Gaming. Every time Jenny leaves the loft, there's a book in that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a mini fridge up there. Actually, no, a mini fridge would kick out with a lot of heat, which would be murder in temperatures like this. I do have an extractor fan, but it struggles to keep up when there's like a computer and stuff on. But I think at the end of the year, when places like B&Q and that start having sales to shift unsold stock, that would be a really good time to buy one of those air conditioning units and use the tube that leads to the outside that the extractor fan currently uses, plug the air conditioning into that so you can dump the hot air out under the eaves, and that might actually work quite well. Man United 1962, if you're ever up in Scotland, I can recommend a visit to the Strathspey Railway in Aviemore and the Bowness and Kinneil Railway at Bowness. Yeah, they're both ones that I would love to do. Also the Caledonian Railway at Montrose is another one. At some point, Zoe and I are hoping to do a road trip up to Inverness, and actually next year, planning going all the way up to visit friends who live on Orkney. So there are plans afoot, and certainly visiting those railways and the whisky distilleries, because yes, we like whisky distilleries. That's another area that we want to explore. Leslie Gilpin, gout as in Derbyshire neck due to iodine deficiency. As in gout? Is that how you spell gout? It's in Derbyshire neck due to iodine deficiency in that neck of the woods. Oh, I never quite. I know iodine used to be a thing. You'd have bottles of iodine and you sort of hose cuts. It was like before TCP and antibacterial things. Iodine used to be a thing. But it always turned your skin like a weird orange colour. I think they still use it when you have major surgery in hospital. So you know something serious went down. If you come round and you look down, there's like patches of orange all over your skin. It's like, oh, what are they cut up? More importantly, what happened? The last thing I remember, I was in a car. Fly Mode Chairman 1, Man United 1982. What was the state of the Boat of Garton station after the fire last month? Oh, I didn't know about that. Tell me more. I'm interested in that. There's been an awful lot of vandalism attacks. I think, I don't know what's going on. A lot of vandalism attacks, and it needs sorting out. There's clearly not good enough punishment to the people doing this. Otherwise, I don't know, it makes me so angry. Oh, I go all Monty Python then. It's so angry. My brain hurts. Where are we? Warrington Train Spotter 2778. I would like to do a garden railway, but my garden is a sun trap, so I don't know if it's still worth doing one. See, our garden here as well is quite a sun trap. I'm looking at it now and it's in full sun. Not really had too many problems other than the ones are related to you, which with better design, and had I known that, with a solid concrete base, it would have worked out a lot better. But I've gone O gauge now. The O gauge is there. I never run it. It has to be said. I need to clean all of the leaves and stuff off it. The track's there and doing just fine. And the Pico track in all scales, even down to Z scale, it has to be said, as long as you go for the wooden sleeper track, is UV stable. Right, Leslie Gilpin, sounds like a good idea. I have 50mm Kingspan on shed roof, but the felt with felt paint to seal annoying little leak meant it was 35 degrees C earlier. Sun on shed walls probably adds heat. Yeah, it certainly does. And I will recommend the solar reflective paint. It's called something like that. It is quite expensive. It's about 30 quid for a big tin. But a big tin will do all of even quite a large shed. And it will stop a lot of these little leaks that you tend to get. Because what tends to happen is when this roofing felt gets hot, it expands. And where you've got the clout nails through it, the clout nails don't move, but the roofing felt is moving ever so slightly. So you end up, it starts to kind of rip around those clout nails, and that's one of the reasons that you get leaks. So the less clout nails, the better that are visible. But obviously some of them have to, the bit that goes over the ridge, you've got to seal it somehow, so there'll be a row of clout nails there. And the silver reflective paint, the solar reflective paint, it's the double whammy. It extends dramatically the life of the roofing felt, as well as keeping the inside of the shed cool. Jonathan Darwin, any chance of you adding a pacer to your model railway collection? Maybe a nice nod to the past now they're finally starting to be taken from mainline service. I'm afraid they're not really something that interests me. I know Real Track Models are doing them. I think they've got plans to do the ones that are more in keeping with when they first came out. I'll be honest, there's certain things that just like don't do anything for me, and Pacers are one of them. Faya Olan, hi, early show tonight. Yeah, I've been trailing ahead for this. Does nobody read their messages? We sent a message out to all the subscribers on YouTube about it being slightly earlier today because I've been invited to go down to a brand new model railway club that's just recently started in Bolton, down at the station, from 7. So obviously couldn't do the live stream from 7. Instead, we've come in a little bit earlier. I also sent a message out through the Facebook group. Yeah, Philip Page, no message here. I don't know. Have you rung the bell, as it were, or checked? There should be an option you have a look at specifically videos from subscriptions. Might be there. I don't know. Oh, it's on the Facebook page as well. If you follow me on Facebook, there should be the Jennifer Kirk Facebook page, and it's the one that you follow, the actual person page rather than the personal account. Don't send a friend request to the account that I use to talk to my sisters and my parents, because that is like super private. It's one of those things. It's like, a lot of personalities, people on YouTube and that, you have two accounts. You have the one that's public, and then you have the one that you commune with the mothership through. So make sure you get the right one. Faye Olan, have you been to Lidl and bought some heat shrink tubing yet to tidy the loco chipping? No, I've just been going over with electrical tape, got proper electrical tape, but no, haven't. Been so busy. Melchester Model Railway, Simon Kohler himself was working the Hornby stall in Dorset. It's a good gig if you can get it, Simon Kohler, great guy. I've met him a few times, got to chat with him, and conversed with him via email on various different things. Great guy. Really has, twice now, in my opinion, he's turned Hornby around and made it a force for good. It lost its way after he left the first time, but now he's back in the saddle. We're certainly seeing Hornby doing what it does best, which is good to see. The Growler Blackwood N-gauge layout. Good evening. 7 p.m. seems to have come early. Oh, I keep saying, I've been telling people we're on early today. God. So follow the Facebook page. We're early because I've been invited out to a model railway exhibition later on. Jonathan Darwin, I might buy a pacer as a garden shed then. Love all the videos you do. Oh, well, thank you for that. Just bear in mind that they do deteriorate and they'll leak. You can't just plonk it there and have it forever. It used to be a thing, certainly in the right up through until maybe even the early 80s, I guess, with the old short wheelbase vans. A lot of the van bodies were sold on to, in the majority, farmers for use as sheds and stuff, and they just disintegrated because it's very rare that they ever got another coat of preservative or anything, or the roofs repaired. They just were allowed to rot into the ground. And it used to be a thing when I was young, in the early 80s. There was loads of these grounded van bodies just everywhere, being used as sheds, sort of makeshift stables, shelters for sheep, all this kind of thing. And most of them have completely gone now, probably through massive lack of maintenance. I'm guessing there are some people who looked after them, but they're very much in the minority. Philip Page, oh yes. What are we talking about there, Philip Page? Can't remember what were we talking about. Oh, Leslie Gilpin, got the message this morning. See, I did send one out. Oh well. But don't forget that this video, once we're done, And we're actually going to be finishing at 7. But is there going to be a whole lot of people piling in going, oh, what's going on? Oh, you're finishing. I've then got to hot tail it out of here and go down into town. So if you are around in Bolton, get yourself down to the Model Railway Club at Bolton Trinity Street, and that's where I'm going to be. Meet me in person. East Lancs Hell, Jenny, a bit early. Look, I'm sure you do this to wind me up. Sent the messages out, but yeah, I was in your neck of the woods, East Lancs Hell. I got a guided tour. Couldn't find your locomotives. Tell me, what are the numbers? You had the 9F, the Black 5 and the Class 33. What were the numbers on those? I couldn't find them. Warrington train spotted 2778. Are we still planning a meet-up at the East Lancs Railway? Actually, that would be really quite good. I was there today, and certainly that's something I think we really should do.
Did you bang on the floor for something?
No, I went...
Yeah.
It brought you running, though, didn't it? Whilst you're there, shall I have a beer?
Shall you?
Yeah, let's have a beer, shall we?
Oh.
Swilling this muck down. I'm walking down into town, it'll be fine. But yeah, a meet up at the East Lancs Railway. We so need to do that, actually. I was there today, and I did think about it at the time. I think we should organise a meet up. We should pick something like a Sunday, and we should do a Jenny Monday Club Sunday meetup. We just call that the Jenny Monday Club Sunday meetup. And yeah, I think that'd be quite good at the East Lancs Railway. If we set a date a few weeks in advance, then I think that that would be give people enough adequate time to be able to get there, I guess. Let's have a look. Yeah, Growlerette, Blackwood Engage Layout. No message here either. If that's from YouTube, weird. YouTube's an odd one. I sometimes get these messages from other channels saying, you know, like, we're going to be having a live stream, excuse me, at such and such a time, and this is the topic, blah, blah, blah. And I thought I'd get in on it, but it seems most people are not getting them. But yeah, I think what we should do for the East Lancs meetup is, Flyman Chairman one. It was a permanent way workshop that was all but destroyed on 14th of July near Boat Garden Station, according to Steam Railway Magazine. Interesting. There wasn't anything in there, was there? Because I know that was it the Mid-Hants had a shed burned to the ground, and one of the casualties of that was it a Class 11? I think it was either a Class 10 or a Class 11, which was sadly burnt out, which is a sad loss to preservation. William Bryant, don't send out a message about the meetup. Nobody will get it. We'll all subscribe to the Facebook page. Yeah. Was it actually arson, or was that something else? I know is it the East Hants Railway? It was traced to slightly careless cleanup after welding or something had been going on, and they hadn't made sure that things had cooled down, and a spark had festered and flared up in the night, and that was apparently the cause of that fire. So Flymo Chairman 1. Anyway, East Lancs Railway Modelling Club. No. It's one at Bolton Trinity Street Station, not at Bury Bolton Street. This is at Bolton Trinity Street. Those two names do get awfully close if you add a few beers. By the way, we're on Stella Artois, which is reassuringly in my hand. J. Paul Anderson. I thought Paul Anderson, wasn't he a sci-fi writer? He got the same name as a science fiction writer. He wrote, was it Tau Zero? Would like to see an ex-Great Central Railway LNE A5 tank in OO made by Hornby or Bachmann. Too few early big tanks on the market. Yeah, I totally agree with you. The WAF Daisies as well are another one. Were they at like 084 tanks or something? Certainly the LMS had some Beams 084 tanks. I remember them being drawings of them being featured in Railway Modeller and seeing pictures of them in LMS livery. And they looked amazing, actually, but apparently they only just survived into BR ownership. Never seen them in model form. But yeah, there's sort of like an untapped wealth of some of these big heavy tanks. And I like to think that Hornby might take on board some of those because they've done some great models in that area. They did the GWR trio with the 42XX, the 52XX, and the 72XX trio. And in my opinion, actually, they were very quick to address some of the major concerns from the first batch. And they're actually great models. If you do see those at a good price, I will recommend it. The 72XX that I've got, which is actually from the second batch, I did a full box opening and review on that. If you want to go back through my channel, find that and take a look for yourself. It's one of my favourite locomotives and also very, very easy to DCC chip. Leslie Gilpin, YouTube is notorious these days, you tell me, for not pushing messages and previews, I find. Yeah, have their own agenda. They'll push crap from PewDiePie and some of these shock jock idiots. But the stuff you actually subscribe to, sometimes you just never hear anything from them. Big Clive is one that I'm subscribed to, and I have to go hunting for his videos because I never get the notifications, which is a bit of an arse. Melchester Model Railway. I don't think Genitopia runs to GMT. I've actually got my clock on the wall working up in the loft. You may have seen it in the background, permanently saying something like 25 to 1. It now doesn't say 25 to 1. Well, actually it does twice a day. But I've got a new battery in that clock and got it working. So I do currently have a working clock in Genitopia. But yeah, if anybody's wondering, what the hell's Genitopia? I've declared a micronation of the loft, the train loft here, that contains Weir Yard. And I've called it Genitopia. And what we're going to do is we're going to, on the Patreon, have the option for extra tiers above the current top tier, which will give you all of the previous rewards, and then will give you an honorary certificate of citizenship but not residence rights of Genitopia, which might be quite fun. And then also the top tier gives you all of that, and the idea is to give you the option that you can post a 3D print. So you get a company like Model U, or I think Hardy's Hobbies as well do something like that. Get it printed in 4mm scale. Just don't do it huge because it ain't going to end up on the layout if you do that. But 4mm scale, paint it up, and it will take pride of place somewhere on Weir Yard, and will feature obviously then in the Trains Going By videos. Fly Mode Chairman 1, I get Big Clive's notifications usually. I don't, and I know he's still putting out videos because when I go hunting for them, they're there. He's great actually, and he likes to rock the beer as well. And he knows no fear. He's like, like how people used to be before all this health and safety nonsense. He likes blowing stuff up. Nothing better than blowing stuff up. Backyard Scientist as well. I never get notifications from that channel, and that's another one that I do follow. But I do get Hoovy's Garage, Tyler Hoover. He's great as well. If you're into cars, that's a great channel to follow. He's got a couple of million subscribers. He's quite a big guy, but not actually like big guy, but he's pretty big with his hoopty fleet. But certainly, if you're into cars, he's very accessible. I find he's just like a nice guy. If you met him, you'd just be like what a guy. Mark Wilson, hey, what's happening? It's not 7 p.m. I've missed some of it. Come on, everybody, tell him. I sent out the messages. YouTube didn't tell people, and if you're not subscribed to the Facebook group for Jennifer Kirk, then you'll know nothing. I moved the live stream forward to 5 p.m. today, and it's just today because I got an invite to go down and meet people at the brand new Bolton Model Railway Club, which is based at Bolton Trinity Street Station in the old Northern Crew training rooms. I think it's something. I've never actually been inside that building that's between platforms 4 and 5. Other than the toilets, I believe, are in there, or certainly were. But, it's quite a big place on 3 floors. I don't even know if it's got a cellar. I might explore it when I get there, if they'll let me. But that's why. So this is a one-off. I would have put it at lunchtime, but then I thought Bank Holiday Monday, people would be off doing something. But hey, Charles Curtis. Hello, Jenny and everyone. I hope everyone is enjoying their bank holiday. Yeah, it was great actually. I went up and visited the East Lancs Railways. You probably gathered from the title of the live stream. Got access all area tour of one of the locomotive restoration sheds where they're doing the IVAT 260. And met a few people as well. I'm not sure whether any of the people I met today when I was at Bury Bolton Street Station are in the chat room. Say hello if you are, but it was great to meet you and have a chat with you. It's about 5 or 6 people. I'm always amazes Zoe when all these people look like, oh, hello, it's Jenny Kirk from YouTube. And it does touch me actually. I do feel honoured that you all listen to me. And it's great, and we must organise a meet up there. It'll be on a Sunday to make it accessible and also make sure the trains are running. I'm going to have to sort that out. Maybe we'll come up with a date. I'll have a look through my calendar and make sure I've got a Sunday that people can make and that trains are running at the East Lancs Railway as well. Very important. And then we'll sort something out and we'll have a meet up at the East Lancs Railway. I think that might be quite super. William Bryant, I got the message about today and I'm in North Carolina, USA. It's 12:45 p.m. here. Oh, it's at lunchtime. I've watched a lot of your videos and tried to catch the live streams when I can. Well, it's great to have you aboard. Always good to have people here in the live stream, and always great to know that you enjoy the videos that I've been doing. I've got a pretty busy release schedule coming up. I've got a load more reviews. I've got some Hornby items as well. And I've got some how-to videos, trying to do some more of those actually. And now that the bulk of Weir Yard, like the fundamental layout is done, I'm trying to do the Friday videos as more of a how-to on adding detail in. So I've got plans hopefully for this Friday, which will be adding a pond. I've got a brilliant product. I can't remember the manufacturer. I bought these with my own money, so this is not any particular company trying to get me to plug stuff. But I'm going to be using Deluxe Materials Solid Water, again a product I bought. I'm not a huge fan of Deluxe Materials, but this particular product I have found is actually pretty good, so I can recommend it. And I've got these bulrushes from this, I think it's a German company. And I'm going to try doing a pond and some marshy ground, and I might experiment with tinting the water as well. I think it won't necessarily look good if it's completely crystal clear, which is how the Deluxe Materials Solid Water drives absolutely crystal clear. I mean, it's pretty good stuff. But if you want any kind of colour that I'm gonna look up what I can put in it to purposefully tint it a little bit and get some advice on that, and then I'm going to do a video on that, hopefully with the Friday video. I've also got planned what's the difference, old versus new models. This is something I've been thinking about for a while, with the new Hornby Terrier versus the old Hornby Terrier. And I want to get a close look at those, and I happen to have the South Eastern and Chatham Railway liveried one, of the old one and the new one. I'm going to be comparing those, and I think that might be quite a good a video just to show people that, and you can see just how different those models really are. I think somebody was asking about the Rails model. There, Matthew Dunmo. Hey Jennifer, do you know the release date for the Rails of Sheffield Terrier? I don't actually know. If it's not on the Rails of Sheffield website, I certainly haven't been told. I did see the pre-production models at Alexandra Palace. That was quite a way back now. There was apparently a running model, but the one that I got to review was a non-running model, so it didn't have a motor in, or indeed the right level of weight, but the actual outer detail, and the wheels went round actually as well, were fine. And it looked great to me, absolutely great, but I've said this before with the Adams Radial, Oxford Rail versus Hornby, the Class 71 DJ models versus Hornby, and whoever gets to the market first does soak up a lot of the custom. And it's, it doesn't matter if your model is so much better, and the Rails model does look incredibly good. I'm afraid, they're getting on towards up to a year now behind the Hornby one, and you've got to be first to the market. I'm sorry, but quality. People are impatient. They want a model to run, and it'd be interesting to see how well that does. It is a really good model, but I couldn't tell you when it's due for release. Flymo Chairman 1, the Manx Beard Club. Yeah, Big Clive, he's good fun actually. Yeah, I've been following his videos for a very, very long time. It's a friend of mine who's into electronics. Again, I haven't seen her for a while actually. She lives in Chester, so big up to Sarah Cartwright if she's watching. But she's actually the one who put me on to Big Clive. She's a big fan as well, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, let's have a look. Warrington Transporter 2778 is easy to get to the East Lancs on public transport. Yes, it is. It's the Metro link goes all the way to the Bury Exchange, is it? It used to be Haymarket Street Station. So the Metro link goes pretty much just over the road from the East Lancs Railway. It's also on major bus routes. I can never remember. Something like the 470 is the bus that goes direct from Bolton to Bury, so you don't have to go all the way down to Manchester on the train and all the way back up on the tram. As to, I think the 470, if that is indeed the number, also then goes on to Rochdale, and there's obviously another bus which goes from Rochdale all the way back. So Bury is reasonably well provided for with public transport, and if you're going by car, easy access off the M66 junction 2, I think it's junction 2. And my top recommendation, if you're only going to be parking for 3 hours tops, park in the big retail park by the Tesco. It's only a few minutes walk from the East Lancs Railways, but it's free to park. Always get a space there. And it's handy if you want to pick up a few bits from Tesco as well. So hopefully I'm going to try and sort out a date by next Monday's live stream, so I can give you that date in person, and I will bang on about it every week, and I'll make sure that the East Lancs is open, that I'm free, and then everybody can put that in their diary, and we will have an East Lancs in-person meetup at there's like the Trackside pub place there. Maybe go for lunch in the Spoons, the Weather Spoons. We'll do that on a Sunday. I think that'd be grand. Leslie Gilpin, it's not far from the tram terminus. Not been for 20 years. Yeah, East Lancs Railway, well worth a visit. Well worth a ride on there as well, actually. I've ridden the East Lancs a couple of times. It does take a while to do the full route, and they have, if you're there on a gala day, actually, it's quite an intensive service. And they have trains that turn back. I think it's I never remember what the one at the top is. Either Ramsbottom or Rottenstall. I always get those two mixed up. But they'd have the means to turn trains back there. So they'll have some that do the full line, some do part line. They've also got trains doing the Haywood branch and back. So it is possible to get on a train at Bury Bolton Street, go all the way up to the end of the line, back, stay on that train to Haywood, and then back. So or presumably you can park at Haywood and get on a train from there, but I'm told that the Haywood station is in a bit of a Badlands area, so maybe not the greatest place to leave your car. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Sadly, I don't drive, so I'll go by train from Warrington in Cheshire. Yes, certainly, if you get a train to Manchester Victoria and then change for the tram that goes from Victoria straight to Bury, that's probably your best bet. Right, this is going to my head actually very quickly. It's a very hot day today. They're saying it's a record bank holiday Monday. We've been breaking all kinds of records. I'm not sure how hot it's been here, but hey. Right, no more comments. I've caught up with all the comments. So I'm going to have a look at some of the comments that have come in on the videos. Motorhead Malk, that marshy hollow you mentioned towards the end of the video, this is on the guided tour of Huge Weir Yard, building the loft layout, part 24, could easily be a leftover bomb crater from World War II, especially near a large freight handling facility. Just an idea. That is actually a pretty good idea. I'm going to give that a thumbs up. So, ding, thumbs up there. And actually, yeah, we'll see how it goes, actually. Probably loads of bomb craters now, just as little ponds that people may not even realise are old bomb craters. But it's a good idea, actually, there. So a big thanks to Motorhead Malk for that. Canadian rail fan, hello to you from Canada. Good to see you coming along here, and it's always great to welcome people from all around the world. I'm starting to sound like, what's that Radio 4 panel program? And our many listeners from around the world. Oh, what was his name? What is his name? Not Christopher Biggins. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't a clue or something. Was it called? So it just came to mind. Faya Olan, too hot in my front room as well. Need to go to work and ride around in an air-conned car. Yeah, that's the thing about Britain. We just about got air conditioning in our cars, but not in our homes. We don't do air-conditioned homes. So when we get weather like this, it's actually quite difficult to keep cool. And the worst thing is, at night, especially if there's no wind and it's humid, it is terrible to get some sleep. And see, I don't do well with air conditioning. I find it dries my eyes out, something chronic, and I end up with a cough at night. So basically, really strict. Nicholas Parsons, there we are. Still on every few months. Yeah, Leslie Gilpin, just a minute. Nicholas Parsons, still on every few months. Yeah, I quite often catch that on... actually, I used to catch that on a Sunday. When I worked the day job on Sundays, I'd always catch that. I used to love it. I'd be going up to usually visiting a customer in Falkirk, and always used to listen to that. But I dropped working Sundays. I went down to a 4-day week. I can well recommend that. So yeah, I a bit out of touch with that, but yeah, I always used to enjoy that. And Canadian rail fan, I just bought Hornby Duchess of Montrose. The new Hornby Duchess of Montrose is absolutely brilliant. It's quite expensive, especially if you get it sound fitted like I did. It comes out about £210, something like that. But I recently showed a few videos of it running with sound. TTS sound is available for it. It's pretty good value actually. Flymo Chairman 1, nice purchase indeed. What livery is it in? It's exactly the same as the old Hornby 00 model. It's in BR green with the early Cycling Lion logo. So it's a good nostalgic nod back to the old Hornby 00 days, which when I reviewed it, did a full box opening and review on that. Have a look back through my channel, you can see that. Basically, they have caught the retro nostalgia crowd, and it is actually inspired. And I believe that they did do Duchess of Atholl without the smoke deflectors in the LMS Crimson Lake livery. I missed that one, but I am quite keen to track it down. I do have Duchess of Sutherland, I think it is, in that livery. But certainly it's inspired to re-release the identities of some of the classic Hornby 00 locomotives. Bankman have done D8000 in conjunction with the National Railway Museum. So I've got that. Now I've got Duchess of Montrose in the right livery. What I need, and I've done an interview actually, it's not been broadcast yet, but I did do an interview for Bachmann, which should be going out on their social media outlets soon. And I did say I would love to see their standard class 4264 tank in the identity of 80054 in BR early lined black. So I really hope that they take heed and do that. Flymo Chairman 1, my Duchess of Abercorn is in LMS Crimson Lake stroke Maroon. Yeah, that's exactly the same one that I've got. I treated myself to that. I think that's the previous version that Hornby did, but they've retooled it 3 times in recent years, and actually all 3 are pretty good. I've got the one prior to the Duchess of Sutherland retooling as well, which is it's DCC ready. So it's got an 8-pin socket, but that's in the loco rather than the tender. And actually, I still like that loco as well. And you can actually put all 3 of those iterations of the Duchess next to each other, and all 3 of them hold their own. So when you see those second-hand, the DCC ready Duchesses, they're all good. They're all golden. Because I think sometimes they've been retooled because Hornby's listened a bit too much to some of the great armchair critic rivet counters, so we're never going to buy them anyway. But they are really great models. Apart from the price, very expensive. But I do recommend them. Yeah, Canadian Railfan, BR Green, early crest, same as the Hornby Double O model from back in the day. Which they did a Canadian Pacific one, which is a real crap up job, Hornby Double O, in a kind of black with Canadian Pacific, and not like anything that ever ran in Canada, but they kind of tried for the overseas markets. By all accounts, didn't sell very well at all. Quite rare now. Philip Page, I missed what you said about Trinity Street Station. I'm just saying the reason that the live stream is slightly earlier today is because I've had an invite to go down and meet people at the newly formed, I believe the fairly new, Model Railway Club that's based out of Bolton Trinity Street Station. As far as I know, they're in the old crew training rooms in the station platform buildings, which are there between platforms 4 and platforms 5. So I'm looking forward to going down there because for many, many, many years, we're talking going back to the early 80s, I have used Trinity Street Station on and off. But I've never, other than the toilets which are in that building, I have never actually been in the rest of that building. So I'm actually interested to see what's actually in there. So hey, yeah. 57305 Northern Princess, I'm going to model Barry Island Station because of Gavin and Stacey. Oh, get on your scooter. We go go down by there. I never watched Gavin and Stacey. For all I know, who could have English accents. Because of Gavin and Stacey, but model it in full use as now. They only use one platform. Isn't that near Di Woodham's scrapyard as was? See, I always think scrapyards, I know it's like a love-hate thing that a lot of people have with these, but scrapyards with derelict demic locomotives in are actually, I find, quite interesting in model form. And somebody did, I saw it in, I think it was Model Rail magazine, a diorama. It's only a small thing, but used for photographing, used a smoke machine to get some really nice fog effects. But it was a diorama of a scrapyard with locomotives getting cut, and it's one of the best quality models that I've seen in a long time. And it drew you in. And certainly Grove Street Yard, which is my exhibition layout, which doesn't go out very much anymore, but was featured in a couple of magazines back in the day, that I built it. But a quarter of that model is a scrapyard, and it always draws the interest and the comments, and I put a lot into that scrapyard. It's not a scrapyard full of demic locomotives or anything, although there is a Dapol kit of the ex-Lancashire and Yorkshire Pug in there as a scrap loco, but most of it is actually leftover dross from old Airfix kits. But certainly there's something magical about scrapyard. They're great to model, but some people don't like the ethos of scrapped locomotives. Canadian Railfan, Jenny, may I ask when GMRC is on? Yes, you may. Right, originally it was announced for the 30th of August and then weekly thereafter. That has been pushed back. Now, didn't I say that they were trying to push it back? And people went, oh no, Kathy Millett said this and Steve Flint said this, so it must be true. And it's like, no, I speak to Pat Doyle, who's the series producer, and he makes the decisions. So, I'd like to say that, yeah, me and Pat, we're like this, we go way back, but we don't. However, we do have each other's phone numbers, and he has been known to call me, has been known to text me as well, and obviously I text and email, and we exchange notes sort of thing, but we're not like that, no, not in the slightest. But he was telling me that they were trying to get it pushed back, and the reason for this, nothing sinister. 30th of August is still in the summer season, and what that means is there's a lot of people still on holiday, so it affects the ratings, and there's a danger, if people miss the first episode, they don't get into a series as easily as if they're there from the start. So the idea is that they're pushing it back to sometime, I think it's mid-September, date not fixed yet. So that is roughly when it's going to go out. So basically pushed back by a couple of weeks. But hey. Fly Mode Chairman 1, Canadian Railfan, nicely done. I've got the tender-driven Duchess of Watts DCC era Hornby. Yeah, I dislike tender-drive locos, as we said. I've dumped any that I had. I had a Fowler 4F, Hornby one, and it looked nice, but performed so badly. It's one of the locos that I just got rid of. Absolutely got rid of. But it's the Princess Arthur of Connaught or something like that, which is the princess coronation class, duchess class, city class. So this amalgamation, and that is in the loco 8-pin DCC socket, but it's got extra pickups in the tender. It's got the slightly fatter, older style couplings on the tender, but it's probably one of my older locomotives that I still keep hold of because I really like it, and it does hold its own. Right, Brockwell Lane. Watched Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe film yesterday on TV. Great intro featuring Bradley Manor, never seen before. See, I remember the old BBC Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and they did some of the other books as well. I think The Last Battle, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, may have done The Silver Chair and A Horse and His Boy, Prince Caspian. I think the only one that they didn't film, the BBC, was The Magician's Nephew, which is a slightly darker, more sinister first book in the series that most people don't actually know about. Excuse me. Otis JB. Hi Jenny, so annoyed I was out and have missed half the stream. Oh well, we did trail ahead to let people know it was on earlier, but YouTube didn't tell most people, and it seems a lot of you are not subscribed to the Facebook page. I can only reiterate that get yourself on the Book of Face and certainly subscribe to that, and basically should hopefully be a bit more reliable than YouTube. Otis JB. Also, is there a theme today? Yeah, and we've already diverted from it. I visited the East Lancs Railway today, so we've talked a little bit about that. And we've also talked about hopefully the Jenny Monday Club Sunday meetup at the East Lancs Railway. Date hopefully will be decided by next Monday, and we'll let you know. And next Monday should be on at the normal time of 7 o'clock. And we're going to do, we'll get that trailed ahead for a few weeks, make sure that East Lancs is running, blah, 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 blah. And it'd be nice to meet some of you. Canadian Rail. Sorry, let's have a look. Warrington Transporter 2778. How is Brian? Does he not join you much now for live chat? He was supposed to join me last week. He did come down, and then he whizzed off to go and meet people at the Bolton Model Railway Club. So missed the live stream again, even though he'd been here. So I think with the hot weather and he has illnesses, so a bit difficult for him to travel. But I've also been trying to get other people on. I'm supposed to be getting Melanie Lewis, and I need to chase her up actually. Also trying to get Dave from Hatton's, and need to chase that up as well. Give a few nudges, try and get a few people on. Maybe have Les Cliff back on as well. So I'm trying to get a few different people, but it's actually maybe a little bit Billy No Mates as well. Faya Olan, bye. We'll watch later. Okay, bye to you. Don't worry, you can catch up, watch the full video later on. All of the live chats are up on YouTube, and this one will be too. You can watch it ad infinitum, well, basically for as long as YouTube keeps the video, which at the moment there's no plans for them to delete anything. Canadian Rail fan. Jenny, I am in UK soon. Where's the East Lancs? Right, the East Lancs Railway runs between Haywood and Rawtenstall via Bury. Bury is kind of the main hub for that railway. Now, Bury is a town that's in the northern part of the conurbation of Greater Manchester. So if you look on a map, that's kind of the northerny part of Britain. Not so north that you get into Scotland, but before things start getting a bit more rural and you get the Lake District, you have this kind of Liverpool, Manchester, Bradford, Leeds, and then ultimately Hull further along. This sort of inner line across the country, and that's kind of like the northern block, the northern powerhouse you might have heard perhaps referred to on the news. That's where it is. And Bury, where Manchester is, Bury is just on the north side of Manchester. Gamehammer Classic Gaming. I saw Voyage of the Dawn Treader at the cinema in 3D. It was amazing. I've never seen that film actually. I've not seen the Lion, the Watch and the Wardrobe film either, must admit. I adored the BBC series when I was younger. I've not seen them. They probably don't hold up with repeat viewing when now I'm at this age. Now I'm middle-aged and old. But yeah, Anthony, hi. First time I've caught you live. No dark fruit this week. No, I've just got a bottle of Stella Artois, which is reassuringly in my hand. But yeah, always good to have people watching live and to interact. And that's the best thing about the Live Monday Club, is the interaction. I can interact with people, and that is great. Philip Page, please report back on tonight's meeting, Jenny. Oh, well, of course I will. I will next week at the Jenny Monday Club. We will talk about that, no doubt. And maybe in the meantime, certainly from today, from my visit to the East Lancs Railway, we ended up getting a load of footage. Weren't planning on it, but we got a load of footage. And it's something that there's probably going to be a Jenny Cam video. We don't do very many of them anymore, because in a way, I guess the Jenny Monday Club took over from a lot of the things we were doing on the Jenny Cam series of videos. And I've not been out and about much, but certainly Derry's trying to get me to do a revisit to Oswestry. Apparently they're keen to have me back to film. They've reopened to, is it Western Wharf? So I've got an open invite to go back there. So I need to do that some Sunday as well. So busy, busy, busy. Otis JB, I've never been to the East Lancs. Is it good? Yeah, I'd rate it as a preserved line. It's really good, really well run. Got a good range of stuff, and it's actually quite a good mix on the line. You've got the more rural side of it going up from Bury up towards Rottenstall, but then you've also got a slightly more urban going the other way from Bury to Haywood. And that takes in things such as, I think it's the only time a preserved railway crosses a motorway above it. I know that the Bowness and Kinneil goes underneath the M90, and the one in Leeds, the name escapes me, goes under the M621. But the East Lancs Railway, I believe, is the only one that goes over a motorway. Oh, and the Epping Ongar Railway goes underneath the M11. Warrington Train Spotted 2778. I might pop up to Bolton Model Rail soon and check it out. I always like to visit new railway clubs. Yeah, based at Bolton Trinity Street Station, which makes it ideal if you're getting there by public transport. Apparently, you don't need a ticket to get there. You just say at the ticket gates, I'm here for the Model Railway Club. And they are like, I'm here for the Model Railway Club, and the cheese shop has valet parking. I repeat, I'm wearing a wire. But that's what I've been told. So, you know, maybe I'll be left on the gates going, oh, let me in. Let's have a look. Flymo Chairman 1, Berry / Berry. No, it's Berry spelt Bury. We have a weird way of pronouncing things in the UK. Basically, pronunciation rules are for people who are very, very organised, like the Germans. Eins, zwei, eins, zwei. In German, just listening to German, you know instantly how it's spelled. They're very, very rigid on their spelling and pronunciation rules. But in English, we do our own thing. And sometimes it's a mystery, even for us Brits. Certain places like Leicester. Now, Leicester, if you're not familiar with Leicester, you may have seen it on maps as Leicester. And Toaster. Now, there's another good one. If you've heard of a place called Toaster and you're looking for a place in the UK on a map that is spelt Toaster, think again, you'll never find it, because Toaster is spelt Towcester. Yeah, it took me until I was in my 30s to work out that this place called Toaster that I kept hearing mentioned on the radio travel news was the place that I was seeing on road signs that I thought was called Towcester. Us wacky Brits. Hey, like Winwick. Winwick is Winwick. And then Wisbech. Wisbech is Wisbech. Well, that's how it's spelled, Wisbech, but it's Wisbech. So, yeah. Flymo Chairman 1. Bath and Bath. Yeah, and yes, that's a whole can of worms, isn't it? If you're really posh, it's Bath. If you're like salt of the earth, working man, it's Bath. Just like that thing that you sit in and cover yourself in water in your bathroom. Or you can just be really quite contrary like me and have a bathroom and have a bath in your bathroom. Let's have a look. Brackwell Lane. Can the public get anywhere near the loco sheds at Bury? Not normally. They're not. I think you can arrange tours as part of a group, but you have to arrange it all in advance. Or you can just be an internet celebrity like me and be recognising. Oh, do you want to have a tour? Also Les Cliff, big fan of the channel, and also appears as a guest on this channel. Look out for him on TV later in the year. He also knows somebody that got Access All Areas tour for myself and a few other people who were involved in filming Biggest Little Railway. Mark Wilson. Now wrong with Leicester Medoc. Yeah. J. Paul Anderson is Berwick upon Tweed, basically Berwick. Yes, it's not Berwick. Yeah, like Alnwick as well. Alnwick. They used Alnwick Castle to film for a lot of Harry Potter. It stood in for parts of Hogwarts. Durham Castle stood in for other bits as well. It must be. It's an amalgamation of those two plus the cloisters of Durham Cathedral, I believe. But yeah, it's Berwick and Alnwick. But Alnwick is spelt Alnwick. Britain's weird for pronunciation of place names. We basically inherited them from a whole bunch of different people who invaded over the last thousands of years. Mark Wilson, Shrewsbury or Shrewsbury? Yeah, even the locals can't decide on that one. I'm not getting into that one. I've been known to pronounce it as both, and I think some of the locals do too. Leslie Gilpin, do they still talk about the buzz in Manchester rather than buses, or some southern softies say bass? Yeah, get on the bass. No, it's buzz with a Z. It's pronounced with that Z, but spelt B-U-S. Yeah, going on, buzz. Otis JB, I visited the Welsh Pool and Llan Fair recently. Apparently they only run a small portion of the line, but the rest of it is still there. At one point it crosses a motorway, which is for one reason that they're hesitant to reopen it. Apparently it's not a motorway, it'll be an A road or a dual carriageway. Welsh Pool and Llan Fair. I thought that the Welsh Pool and Llan Fair, it's the Welsh Pool end. It used to like weave between the houses all the way to Welsh Pool Station. And it's like a mile and a half that's gone because basically people just like consumed it into their back gardens, I suspect. Philip Page, Shrow, as in Shrewsbury. Richard Hall, parts of the Harry Potter films were also shot in Norwich Cathedral. Fun fact of the day. Filmed all over, but I know Alnwick was used, Durham Cathedral, Durham Castle, because the Durham Castle Great Hall was the Great Hall at Hogwarts, but with some CG slapped in there. So obviously the Harry Potter stuff predates. Me being at university predates Harry Potter, but I ate all my meals for 2 years whilst at University College Durham in the Great Hall of Hogwarts. Is where it was filmed. Leslie Gilpin, Mark Wilson, it's also Salop. Yeah, Salop I thought was the old county. County of Salop, which is... it's weird. Britain's weird. We're a weird place. J. Paul Anderson, you're right though, Jenny. Any person hearing Königsberg or Breslau knows what the places meant. Yeah, that's what I love about German. And I learnt German. I'm able to read a lot of German. My German vocal, like speaking German, is very, very rusty. I've not spoken with a native German speaker probably in 20 years. I try and keep up, actually. A top tip for you, if you've got a DVD, and if you look on the back, and it'll have a list of the different soundtracks that are on that disc. And there's quite a lot of them. Will have things like English, French, German. And what I do is I watch those films in German to kind of, keep my ear into the language. Philip Page, Shropshire is Salop. Oh, yeah, the county. Yeah, I'm with you. Mark Wilson, apparently it depends on what side of the river in Shrewsbury you were born as to how you pronounce it. Oh, I'm presuming there's a posh side and a not so posh side. Mark Rice, don't forget Blackpool. Well, Blackpool's pronounced Blackpool, like Liverpool. But it's the Liver building in Liverpool. What's that about? I don't know. But meanwhile, back at the ranch. Nigel Carter here says Vauxhall rotted like mad. That's something that was mentioned in the guided tour of the huge layout, building the loft layout, part 24. The Vauxhall Viva, yeah, they used to rot as soon as you spat near them, and apparently it was one of the big reasons that Vauxhall Motors kind of got to grips with this rot problem, because they had a period where they'd overproduced these things, and they were all parked up near the factory. I think it's near Luton, so they were still producing them. They were all lined up in a compound, and they actually were starting to go rusty before they were even sold, and it was such an embarrassment that they kind of started to deal with the problem. Warrington train spotted 2778. Boom! I got told off for saying that before. Leslie Gilpin. Blackley and Manchester. Blakely. Oh, was that right? Oh, Blakely. Yeah. And Manchester Vic in the 70s. Blackpool was pronounced as Blakepool. Blakepool. I didn't know that. Weird. Somebody who obviously hadn't been there. I'm trying to think of other really obscure place names that people go, oh. I think Toaster is probably the most peculiar one I've come across in England, as it were. But Wales, yeah. It's what always used to annoy me on the BBC News. They could pronounce all these places in like Azerbaijan or the Democratic Republic of Congo. Top tip for you, if a country has democratic in its name, it's about as far from being democratic as it's possible to be. But that's just an aside. They could pronounce all them perfectly. Couldn't pronounce Welsh place names, even like the simple ones like Llangollen. Oh, it grates when people go, Llangollen! No, Llangollen, it's not difficult. J. Paul Anderson, anything 70s British Leyland wasn't completely rust-proof either. Yeah, we used to call them the Fred Flintstone cars when I was a kid. I remember the very early 80s, you'd get in a car and you'd watch the road go by through the rust holes in the floor. Good God, don't going down the motorway like, I'm going to have a tantrum and stamp my foot. So he'll come running now. And your foot would go through. Oh, God. It doesn't bear thinking about. But yeah, British Leyland stuff. The old Rover SD1 used to rot like anybody's business. The Growler Blackwood N-gauge layout. Milngavie? Milguy. Near Glasgow. Or as non-Scots would say, Milngavie. Yeah, Milguy. Yeah. Mark Wilson. My dad hand-painted his Viva a bright blue when I was little. He did it in the garage like the scene from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and had a grand unveiling. It was rubbish. Well, it was a Vauxhall Viva, of course it was rubbish. J. Paul Anderson, ha ha ha, Deutsche Demokratische Republik. Yes, and it wasn't. It was a communist puppet regime. The DDR, or as they used to call it here, the GDR, the German Democratic Republic. I'm also a big stickler for overseas place names. I like to pronounce them as per the locals would pronounce them. So it's not Cologne, it's Köln. Alex Pomeroy. Oswald Whistle is another good one. Somehow makes Ossel Twistle. Oh, right. Now that makes sense. Leslie Gilpin. Llanfairpwllgwyngyll. Pwthgwyngyll. Yes, J. Paul Anderson, wasn't the SD1 sometimes referred to as the P7? Not heard it referred to as the P7. I know there was a P6, but the SD1 was the one with the sort of the wedge-shaped front, the sort of trying to be aerodynamic. The motorway police used to use them because they had quite a bit of poke if they had the V8 in them. Leslie Gilpin, Barlick near Colne, Barnoldswick, Barlick. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of these places, unless you hear the locals pronounce them, you would be none the wiser. Mark Wilson, isn't it funny how the chat goes off on tangents? Yeah, I'm sorry, that's my fault. It's just me. It really is just me. J. Paul Anderson, yeah, the so-called Ferrari Daytona shape. Yeah, cheap man's Ferrari Daytona. Actually, they were quite nice cars. A friend of my father's had one. And I always remember it had those... British Leyland cars all had the same door handles about then. They're sort of like these chrome silver things, and you put your hand in and it was like a chrome flap that came out. And all of them, from a Morris Marina to the Rover SD1, had exactly the same door handles, and they're all rubbish because they kept breaking. But yeah, I remember that SD1 went rotten within the first couple of years. It had started to have the little rust holes appearing. But cars of the day were all like that. I remember Fords used to be known as rot boxes. Spit near a Ford and it would rot out. They were all just as bad as each other. The Datsuns as well. I remember them being rot boxes. Oh, and the fiberglass bodied cars like the Reliant Scimitar. The only trouble with that, it still had a metal chassis, so the body looked fine and the car would just like crunch off the chassis. Mark Herbert, it's Monday again. Where does the time go? I know. It's one of those things, isn't it? But how are we doing on time? 18:27. I'm going to have to go in about 20 minutes or so. I've got to get ready and then I'm going to walk into town and I'm going to meet up with all of the people at the Bolton Model Railway Club at Bolton Trinity Street Station. I've never been. I got an invite through the Facebook page. Now, there you are. The Facebook page, if you subscribe to that, you find out about things that YouTube keeps secret from you. So there you go. And also don't forget as well, share these videos. Share them to everybody. Share all my videos, because what we need is over 10,000 subscribers, because at 10,000 subscribers there's actually some extra features on YouTube. Go on, get everybody you know to subscribe. You know it's worth it. God, I like fishing for stuff. I think last week we managed to get somebody up to, was it 100? No, 50 subs or something. Oh, right, let's have a look. Alan Chambers, looking forward to seeing you. Oh, well, grand, do say hello, because it's nice to put names to faces. Flymo Chairman, well, Mark Herbert, I thought that this morning, yeah, Monday. Bit like, I used to be like Garfield, hating Mondays, and then actually my working week got skewed to be Wednesday to Saturday. Well, it was Wednesday to Sunday, now it's Wednesday to Saturday. So actually, I quite like Monday. Because Monday I can have a lie-in, having done stuff yesterday, and I've still got tomorrow off, so I can have a late night. So Monday is my party day. So I actually quite like Mondays now, but I never used to. So, you know, when I was at school, hated Mondays. Ooh, so Monday morning, worst time of the week. Right, I'm going to have to limber up for this. Warrington train spotter 2778. Llanfairth, Pwthgwyngyl, guys. Go Gary. Oh, and then the page jumps. Androb, Llantysilio, Go Goch. Oh God, yeah. My dad can pronounce it perfectly, which is amazing considering he's not Welsh in any way. My mum can as well, but she is Welsh. J. Paul Anderson. The only reason the VW Beetle, for example, became such a success was its build quality. It was essentially a terrible car. The thing about the Beetle was it was a cheap car. VW, or VW as the Germans would call it, it's Volkswagen. I'm a little bit of a hipster, I'm afraid. I call it a Volkswagen. It's like, oh look, it's a Volkswagen Passat. And most people don't hear that because they expect to hear Volkswagen. But I pronounce it as per the German way because that is just my thing. But it means people's car. Volks is the German word for people. It's where we in Britain, the word folk, isn't like folk music. Folk means people. It's like an old word for people. But in German, Volks is the people's, and Wagen is car. So it's the people's car. It was designed to be cheap and accessible and also easy to work on. They're really easy to rebuild. I got a friend from way back when her first car was a VW Beetle. Her father bought it for her as a wreck. And dirt cheap, and essentially it's a case of you've got 2 years before you can legally drive, rebuild the car. She did, completely rebuilt it, and that was her first car and she loved it to bits. Otis JB, share them to share. Oh yeah, the pronunciation thing again. Otis JB. I used to hate Monday Club before I started watching these streams. Monday Club? Why? Is there another Monday Club? Or are you just like, oh, I hate Monday Club? Oh, James Hardy. Have you been to the Eastlands Bulliard Gala? No, I haven't actually. I don't go to a lot of galas. In fact, the only galas I've ever been to is a Class 40 gala at East Lancs Railways. It's actually Brian who persuaded me to go along to that. So we went and did that. That was actually good fun. And we did a diesel gala at the Ribble Steam Railway. It's a bit of an oxymoron. Diesel gala at the Ribble Steam Railway. And that was alright actually. In fact, on my channel there's a full line video of that. It's quite a short line, but it was good fun actually. I enjoyed that day. Got to meet a few people as well who were fans of the channel. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Well done, Jenny. Try saying when you're drunk. Well, I am slightly drunk. Llanfairpwllgwyn. I lose my place very easily. It's Llanfairpwllgwyn Gylllogogeri Drop Silio Go Goth. It's that bit in the middle with the 4 L's. You do know that's not the real place name. It's actually Llanfairpwllgwyn, and the rest of it was added as a publicity thing by the LMS or the Lancashire and Yorkshire or London and North Western Railway. I'm not sure which railway company it was, but it was done simply as a touristy thing, like come and visit the longest place name in Britain. And I suppose in the Victorian period, that passed for entertainment. Oh, James Hardy, East Lancs. Sorry, no, not been to the Bulliard Gala. I've done the Class 40 Gala at the East Lancs, but that's it. Yeah. Otis JB. I'm sorry, I meant to say I hate Mondays before I started watching these streams, and that's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it. But I'm glad that you all enjoy these live streams. It always amazes me. See, at school, I was the one that was instantly ignored. You know, I'm 40 now, and it's still living rent-free in my head that I was the unpopular kid at school. Ooh, I like being popular. Either that, he's going, well, it's Monday, there's nothing much else on, so we tolerate you. James Hardy, I'm a member of Ribble and West Lancs Light Railway. Whereabouts is that? Not familiar with that. The Growler Blackwood N-gauge layout, going to Austria next week. Plenty of Österreich Bundesbahn, OBB, train travel assured. Most lines bi-directional, so they never close them, unlike over here. Yeah, certainly some... Continental Modeler was a magazine I used to subscribe to because I really enjoyed... I thought some of the quality of the modelling was really, really good. So a little bit familiar with the Österreich Bundesbahn. Mark Herbert, Llanfairpwll PG. Yeah, it did get abbreviated to that a lot. Leslie Gilpin, before the London and North Western Railway, Chester and Holyhead arrived, I think. Right. I'm not sure at what point that station got renamed and became a tourist trap. Quite literally a tourist trap, because there is sod all else there. Flymo Chairman 1, the Growler, nice one. I hope you keep the good weather. The Growler. Oh, yeah, the Austria trip. Ham Shackleton, good evening to you. Good to have you in. I'm guessing you didn't get the message either. It seems most people didn't. Subscribe to the Facebook page and you will be the first to actually hear the message, rather than if you subscribe to the YouTube, which do subscribe to YouTube anyway. Apparently it's not pushing it, but I never get Big Clive's messages either, or update prompts. So what can I do you for?
Get to see if you need another drink.
No, if I have another beer I'll fall over. What I need is something to soak up this alcohol. Do we have anything quick and easy to eat?
Knock you up an omelette.
An omelette, you say? Yeah, go on, I'll have an omelette. Oh. I need something to soak up the booze before I head off. I think I've still got some sweeties as well, but they're like solid toffee. Mike Stories, greetings to you from Holland. Have we had Holland before? Let's wheel out the imaginary map. Holland. Ka-ching. Whereabouts in Holland? Let's see, The Hague, Antwerp, Amsterdam, Flushing. Is Flushing in Holland? Rotterdam is that Belgium? I'm not sure. Anyway, but good to have you along. Always good to have new people on the channel. I know there's a lot of people who watch that don't comment. Don't feel that you have to comment. Don't worry about it. It's always good to have you watching. Mark Herbert, try breaking it up. Llan fire put gwyn gil go gerich rhan drobwyl llan tai silio go goch. Something like that. Ham Shackleton, I am surprised and I clicked the bell, but I was doing other things. Oh, that's fair enough. Otis JB, speaking of foreign models, I've never seen a German steam loco that wasn't painted black with a bright red underframe. Yeah, the Germans went in for that a lot. That seems to have been a thing from certainly post Second World War right up to the end of steam, which was 1970 something. Steam in West Germany certainly lasted a lot longer. I'm not sure what the Deutsche Demokratische Republik should be the Deutsche Undemokratische Republik. Oh no, Deutsche Nicht Demokratische Republik. I don't know whether they had the same colour scheme. I'm not sure. Leslie Gilpin, when this is finished, I'm going to video my 4444 hauling Pennsylvania Railroad passenger cars loud for N-Gauge. Oh, is it N-Gauge sound fitted? I know River Rossi have brought out an anniversary edition, all bells, all whistles, of the big boy. I was looking at it in Hatton's, but it's about about 300 quid. It's really, really expensive. Andrew Johnson, there was a German locomotive which was painted green. I think certainly if you go back to Kaiser Wilhelm, pre-First World War, the Prussian railways, they had different colour schemes as well. And certainly there's an area that people who model German railways are much better catered for, is the Era 2 and quite possibly the Era 1 as well, which we're only just now getting the Era 2 stuff. And still get my head around this Era system. I always feel that Era 1 really should have been divided in two, because stuff like the Rocket is so different from things like the Midland Spinner or Daniel Gooch's 222, the Firefly class. There was so much development over such a short length of time that really Era 1 is far too vast, as is Era 2, to really get a firm handle on those periods. And like Era 2, like 1870 through to 1923, I think that's like 53 years. There was a lot went on in that period. So the era system is very vague, and I think caters for the fact that when it was brought out, most models were focused on sort of Era 3 to 9. Leslie Gilpin, the big boy is over 300 quid and isn't the best available. Yeah. Ooh. They do get expensive, but it looked nice, and I was looking at it with a thought of, I bet that'll actually go around the curves on Wear Yard. Andrew Johnson, it was post World War One. All right, it was hoped to break the world steam record. I know that the Flying Hamburger was meant to break the actual speed record. There was one which they reckon would have beaten Mallard, but the outbreak of the Second World War kind of intervened, and nobody really tried after that. Fly Mode Chairman 1, Leslie Gilpin, are all the 4444 wheel sets all drivers? Actually, I'm interested to know that. Kevin Bradley, lay hair in my sick bed for a while to go. Yeah, missing my layout, listening to you and watching New Junction. Thanks for keeping me in touch and giving me ideas when out of the woods. Well, I'm glad I can help, and do get well soon. And sometimes it's nice to be able to kind of plan things out in your head. And so it's people ask me for a track plan for all of the models that I build, and there isn't one. There never is one, because I do everything in my head. I can visualize things really well in my head. I keep everything in my head. I build all manner of things from like an idea in my head, and sometimes it's nice to have a bit of time where you work out those plans in your head. I do it whilst I work, kind of like daydreaming. I daydream all these ideas, then I come home and just implement them. And it's not just that, things like all the shelves in this room, you can just about see in the corner of the screen there some of the custom shelves I built for this room. and I worked it all out in my head and then just made it. There's no diagrams or anything of stuff like that. It's just the way I work. So sometimes it's actually really good to have that. Brockwell Lane, do you have a new Hornby B2 packet? Are they actually even released yet? I've been sort of keeping an eye on them, but no, I don't. I'd love to know if they've been released, because I do have one on order. But certainly if it has come out, been and gone, I'm a bit annoyed that I've not been told by the shop that I pre-ordered it from about it, and I've certainly not been sent a review sample from Hornby. Kind of hoping, fingers crossed, that they might do that. Knowing my luck, they'll send the same one that I've got on pre-order, so I'll end up with 2 NCB blue ones. But no, I don't have the new... Oh, Brockwell Lane, Hattons have the B2. When was it released? Let's have a look at that. That must have just come out. So interesting. Leslie Gilpin, it's essentially a 484 with 8 drivers split on a fixed frame, 2 cylinders to each side. Google Pennsylvania duplicate, right? Yeah, Otis JB, do you have any foreign? I've got an old Bachmann GP40. Let's have a look, new stock. So I'm just trying to have a browse of the Hattons. Oh yeah, new. They've literally came in on Friday. So Sherwood in Sherwood Colliery Line Green and Westminster in Associated Portland Green Cement have turned up. Let's have a look. Has the NCB blue one been and gone? Can anybody notify me on that? There's a lot of Oxford diecast come in, an awful lot. Interesting, in on Thursday. Right, so the DCC fitted ones turned up on Thursday. Not seeing the NCB. Let's have a look. Not seeing the NCB blue one. Maybe that's in a later release. That's the one that I've got on order. Alan Chambers, Gidiac girl, don't run out of steam before you get to Bolton Model Club tonight. Oh, I'll be grand. I'll be really grand. Don't worry. But yeah, I've got a GP40 and a couple of 40-foot gondolas from Bachmann. I used to have more, and I sold a load of stuff. I do like a lot of American outline stuff, but you've got to be ruthless sometimes. And I know that without a model to run them on, they'd just be ornaments. I mean, the GP40 may have got released from captivity for filming a TV series. It did get used. I don't know whether any of that footage will end up in the finished programme, but yeah, the GP40 did get to stretch her legs. And just before we went for filming of that, I did have her running up in the loft, wasn't filmed, just to make sure she worked just fine. But prior to that, she spent like 20 years in a box, never being used. Flymo Chairman 1. The pre-war German railways built a streamlined diesel 2. Can't remember the wheel formation, but it was like the standard 264s in style. Wasn't that? Is that the Flying Hamburger or something? Flymo Chairman 1. Let's be up, and thanks. That makes a picture come to mind. Grand. Yeah, I know Bachmann China did a 264 tank from the Japanese railways from the Second World War that was used in Manchuria. I know Hattons had their marks right down for years and years. They're probably about the cheapest locomotive you could get. And I kept meaning to pick one up and never did. And now they don't have them anymore. I must admit that actually I've been quite taken by some of the Swedish outline stuff. But they've got them in Arcadia. Tim's got them in Arcadia in Shaw. In the cabinet. They're really expensive, but they look beautiful locomotives. But it's like 300 quid for a loco. There's a Danish one as well in green and red, possibly. Beautiful locomotive, but just I can't justify it. Leslie Gilpin, flying. Apparently, they regularly ran 100 mile an hour plus in the few years they were in passenger service. I can well believe that. It's not the locomotive. Oh, right, so they're building a new build of one of these things. Interesting. So I'm just looking back through the Hatton's the Hatton's website at new releases. I'm looking for that Peckett B2 in NCB blue. No sign of it. I don't think it's been released yet, I have to say. But yeah, I've got the Peckett B2. In fact, actually, if I check, let's have a look. Can I check B2? Will it give me a projected release date? Let's have a look. The Hatton's search function. I'm sorry, Hatton's. Your website is brilliant except for the search function. I searched for B2. If that doesn't bring up the packet, then nothing will. And oh, here we are. Right, pre-order. It's still on pre-order. So let's have a look. When is that due out? Between August and September. So it is due out any time, but that does look nice. Let's have a look. Otis JB, were they the yellow and purple blobs on wheels, the Japanese tanks? Not sure what you're talking about on that. Oh yeah, Brockwell Lane, NCB coming soon. See news bit of website. Yeah, I'm just looking here now. It's got a August, between August and September release date, so imminent. Charles Curtis, the T1. Mark Wilson, why do we generally relate to locos as females? I've always been perplexed by this. Here she comes at the bank with 10 coaches. I think it's an affection thing, and also because machines, certainly back in the day, were very temperamental and needed treating right like a woman. Oh, very sexist. But you know, all forms of transport are she. It's just one of those things. Yeah, I mean, there's certain, like you get locomotives called like Lord of the Isles, which is a she. But, you know, then you get like Duchess of Montrose. That's quite an easy one. Anyway, I think my food's coming. So we're going to wrap up the Jenny Monday Club because I need to scoff food down. And actually, that's a good point there, Leslie Gilpin. What about Thomas the Tank Engine? That is an interesting point. But I've got an omelette. I'm going to scoff that, finish my beer, get ready. And then I'm going to be down at the Bolton Model Rail Club, which is at Trinity Street Station between platforms 4 and 5. Apparently, just tell the ticket inspectors at the barrier that's where you're going and they should let you through. That's what I've been told. So, if you're about, then that's where I'm going to be tonight if you want to pop in and say hello. But don't forget that you can support the channel on Patreon and help us to make the videos that you enjoy watching. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share it, share all our videos, let everybody know about the Jenny Monday Club, and hopefully next week we'll come up with a date, which will be a Sunday, for an East Lancs Railway meetup. So once we've got that date, I will trail ahead. I will actually tell you in the videos so that you can hopefully make arrangements to be there. But until next time, you all take very good care of yourself. It's been great to have your company. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.